communist, and when I tell people that, they often reply with, oh, communism, too bad it doesn't work. And this is always interesting to me because I always ask a follow-up question and say, what exactly is your metric for working?
How about not starving? Why don't we start with that? Is that a good measurement? Like, I don't want to starve to death. China, under communism, the Great Leap Forward, killed 20 to 30 million people, starved to death. Same thing in Soviet Union. Like, the record of communism is just starvation. Yeah, like, capitalism is not perfect, but at least you're not starving. At least you're not eating out of a fucking trash can like people living in Venezuela and Cuba or even in North Korea. America is one of the only places in this world where poor people are still fat. Like, you're not calorie deficient. So that seems like it's working pretty well so far.
This communist girl gets asked one of the most basic questions. If capitalism is so bad, why does it actually work? And instead of answering, she tries to dodge with, what's your metric for working? Bro, let's use a very simple metric. Not starving to death, not watching your children waste away, not having to risk your entire family drowning at sea just to escape. They loaded their families onto tiny wooden boats to escape the new regime. No food, no water, no navigation, just desperate parents clutching their kids while praying they wouldn't sink. Pirates attacked them at sea. Women were raped. Children drowned. Estimates say between 200,000 to 400,000 people died at sea because of the communists. Entire families wiped out in the ocean because living under the system was worse than risking death on the water. Think about being a mother on one of those boats, holding your baby as waves crash over you, knowing that going back means starvation and re-education camps, but going forward might mean drowning. That's the system she's defending. Venezuela used to be rich. Now people are eating zoo animals and digging through trash. Cuba is still a disaster, with people fleeing on homemade rafts. North Korea, generations living in darkness and hunger. Capitalism isn't perfect, but it's the only system that has constantly lifted billions out of poverty. The poorest Americans today have refrigerators, cars, smartphones, and more calories than kings had a few hundred years ago. In communist countries, the poor literally starve, while the party elite live in luxury. Here's the deeper reason communism always fails. It ignores human nature. When you push success and reward laziness, people stop producing. When the government owns everything, nobody takes care of anything. That's why every single time it's tried, it ends in tyranny, famine, and mountains of corpses. Over 100 million people died under communist regimes in the 20th century alone. You need to wake up. Stop romanticizing an ideology with the blood of millions on its hands. Think about your own family, your future kids, your parents. Do you really want to risk that kind of suffering just because it sounds nice on paper? This girl couldn't name one successful communist country because none exists. They all end in the same way. Is not starving to death a good enough metric for you? Or are we still pretending communism just needs one more chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.